everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. Fanny's not here today because she actually had work, so it's just me. But during Christmas time, we were actually able to go out and visit her parents, and while we were there, we had some family friends over as well. We were able to get an interview with her parents and the friends about leaving the Amish and kind of their story. So this episode's the first episode of a couple in a series that we're going to be putting out over the next couple weeks, just about the Schrocks and the Kaufmans and their stories about how they left the Amish. So here we go.
Do the Amish get embarrassed of their Amish lifestyle or the way of living?
I think the Amish are actually proud of the way they live, and I was very proud of how we were living, and having such a good time and all the things we would do in secret, kind of, and we were not. I felt like we were totally separate from the world, and being separate from the world means also we felt excluded from. We would go against the law for something. I kind of felt it doesn't matter that much. And but as time went on, when I started seeing the light, then I started feeling a little bit embarrassed about it. Because then I realized I was taking advantage of our neighbors, using their phone, using their deep freezer for our food, and the list kind of went on. And that's when I was embarrassed about it. But I think, as far as for the most part, they would be proud of what they do.
I think the Amish, for the most part, just like John said, somewhat are proud. I know I had a few embarrassing questions, or whatever, when I was still Amish. Now the people could ask me the same questions, and I wouldn't be embarrassed about it. Part of me, I don't know exactly why I was embarrassed, but I had a few embarrassing moments, but for the most part, not. No.
Yeah.
As far as being embarrassed, I was not embarrassed to be Amish. I was not even after I started realizing what the truth is. I was actually just more scared to even think of leaving the Amish because it was very secure for me. It was my security. So for me, I'm sure there's people, like my husband said, embarrassing. But it was not for me. It was a little more scary after I started seeing the light, before I understood what light really was about. But I was really actually happy and satisfied where I was till God opened our eyes, but then it got a little scary.
I was very comfortable where I was.
Yeah.
Doing what I was taught. I was happy.
So after you guys left, what was your relationship like with your family and your parents and your siblings?
Well, for us, to begin with, it was really touchy. It's not as touchy now anymore. We can go visit them, but it's just a brief, short visit. They won't allow us to stay there for any meals. Like an hour, 2-hour visit once a year, every other year, something in that order. They don't mind if we stop in and visit, but we don't go into a lot of details. They don't want to ask, hey, how are you guys doing? What are you guys doing for work? Because they don't want to go into that kind of a detail. They want to just rather talk about the weather and about what they're doing and getting accomplished and a few things that maybe we have missed out in the family and that sort of thing. And so they just don't want us to come around too much because, the shouting hasn't stopped. It's just my parents have literally learned to accept where we are in life and what the path we have chosen we've done, but he didn't approve what we've done. So the shunning will go on for the rest of our lives. And then for my in-laws, they are more strict, come from a more stricter Amish community, and therefore they have less going with us, to the point where they won't allow us to attend a funeral in the immediate family and that sort of thing. So they take it a step further than what my parents did.
Is it any different for you guys, or is it pretty similar?
I would say it's pretty similar. It's just that our first year or year and a half was very rough because I was an Amish deacon.
Okay.
And that was looked at like I broke a double deal, for them.
Because you had a higher, you had a higher stance in the community.
Yeah, I was one of the leadership, and so for you to walk away, it was just it was miserable. The first year and a half was very rough, but yeah. So from there on, by God's grace, He kept us encouraged and reminding us that even though we are not, they don't basically give us their approval of what we're doing, but by Him we are accepted through Jesus Christ. So those things we just always kind of stuck together on and got through it. But as far as our relationship with our family, it's just kind of the same. Like Malvin was sharing, it just doesn't really go anywhere. We had people tell us that, the longer the time goes on, it kind of runs out. They'll learn to accept you. You can come back, but I haven't found it that way.
Do you think that's just because of the communities you're from? Like, are some communities, maybe not in Wisconsin, but like Indiana, Iowa area, or even Pennsylvania, is it different there?
I would say it's very different.
In some communities, yes, they are more spiritual minded in some areas, and therefore they are less strict in the shunning and stuff. Now, my family would not ever sit us down at the same table and give us a meal. If they ever did serve food, they would either have a separate table where we would sit, separate from the rest of the family, or they would do cafeteria style or put food on our plate, and then we could go eat. That would be the only way. But even up until now, they've never done that. It's my mom is giving candy to the kids, or she's offered us a cookie or two to eat on the road. But other than that, there's no, and they don't give us anything, and neither will they accept anything that we have to give. I couldn't give them any money. I couldn't give them any food, just because they don't. That's part of the shunning. They will not accept anything I have to give them.
Right. But if I gave them something, I think they would be more readily.
Yeah, because you were never a member of the church,
Right. So I'm not technically
so
shunned.
you're not technically shunned.
Interesting. Do you miss that lifestyle, like the whole being Amish, any of that? Any part of it do you miss?
I
Just a
do.
little.
Yeah, there's some things I miss, and one of the main things that I would say is working together.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to build a barn or add to the house or build a new house, whatever it was, we had a working bee, and everybody comes together, and to me that was a highlight in my life. And even after I got born again and we left the Amish, as a dad, I tried to actually teach that to the children. There's some value in that. Because nowadays, as soon as somebody comes and helps you, they want money. In the Amish, it wasn't that way. And so for me, that meant a lot. And we do some of that still with the church and friends and family, but it's a lot more going the other way. So that's probably one of the main things I miss about the Amish is some of the things they've done or do today. It has some valuable lessons in it, and it brings you together. And so then you always have a nice meal at lunch. You cook a great meal.
That's
And
important.
or they make homemade donuts, for a snack in the morning
tasty.
and coffee. And it's just, and I'm still that way today. I love being together with people, fellowship.
The simple lifestyle.
Yeah. I don't miss the lifestyle at all, but I do miss some of like family. I really do miss that. I miss the little bit of the working together, but total lifestyle, transportation to all, I do not miss, and I would not go back.
So for me, there's a few things still, just like quiet, a slower way of life in a way. But just like John mentioned, I missed getting together and having the work day together. And the Amish raised the barn in 1 or 2 days sometimes, and it didn't cost anybody anything other than 1 or 2 days with your time. And then when your time comes that you did want to do something, they come and help you. That's one way of looking at it. That's one thing the Amish got it together.
Yeah,
They really
they
do.
do.
There's certain things that the Amish did in a nice way. It's got a lot of value. I have one thing I cherish today is my work ethic. And some of the things, especially the way the world is going now, where we might have to raise more of our own food. Who knows what all we might face someday. I cherish my upbringing in those kind of ways, in preserving food, preparing food, and I say I got the best in both worlds. We live out with the convenience, but I got the benefit of Amish cooking to this day. So that's a highlight.
Raising our own food.
What was the transition like coming from the Amish? And interpret this however you want to, go into whatever detail you'd like to. But what was the transition like going from Amish to not being Amish?
What did that step look like?
That step looked like, this is how I felt. I felt like we were left alone in a big world.
We thought we were the only people there that actually knew Jesus.
You know, without your family and outside. See those, the church rules that they have, it's kind of like a fence. And you stay inside there, or a box rather even. And so after, you know, for leaving, and to coming out of that is, that's the best we can explain it. You just come out, you know, when they dropped us, they didn't like that, what we had to say that we got born again. And so we're outside now, you know, and I remember telling them, sharing it with our family. My wife and the children were like, man, it's just, we're all alone. We felt so alone. And, but that all changed. You know, I remember the Lord different times speaking to me and saying, like, reminding me of things, how much He loves me. And reminding me that all these families, you know, our own families that we lost, we'll be blessed tenfold by that. And I believe we have been.
Right.
And so, but at the time, that first step just seems so big. For me, it seemed that way. And it just seemed like we're all alone, and how are we ever going to get through this?
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how I seen.
Did you have a plan when you guys were leaving, or was it just kind of we're gonna step out and whatever comes, we're gonna end up doing?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So what happened is we got kicked out.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching our video. Hope you enjoyed getting to know a little bit about the Schrocks and the Kaufman stories. Be sure to like our video and subscribe and hit that little bell so that you can get notified when the rest of our series comes out. We're probably going to have a couple more episodes, maybe 3 or 4, just because of the amount of time we got with them. Leave us a comment if you learned something new from our video. We love reading you guys' comments and messages. We try to get to every one, so be sure to do that. Also, you can find us on Instagram. Our link is in our banner on YouTube, as well as we have a Patreon page if you'd be willing to support us in that way. That would be an amazing blessing, so we can continue coming out with the content we're producing. We love you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.